Don't you love it?
I forgot that we had this.
I worked so hard on
good.
it.
It's very good.
Thank you very much.
It's very
Thank
good.
you.
We'll have lots more stuff like that for you guys in the new year as well. We have big plans coming.
We do.
For some production updates in Salt of the Streets.
Before we can begin to break down breaking points, I have a problem to solve. My Stein is empty.
Would you like...
I just really like beer, dude.
Okay, well, here. Crack this O-Fest because you're going to drink that quick.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And then we will start ourselves on a space boat.
It's actually part of the reason I went to Echoes yesterday, because on Thursday, I stopped in there, had a couple beers, and was going to grab a 4-pack to go home. Paid for it, and then got distracted by something.
Forgot?
And totally forgot about it. And luckily, I mean, I know all of them now, but like I was able to I texted the bartender on Friday. I was like, was I high, or did like I actually order a 4-pack and then totally forget to grab it? She was like, oh, no, you did. But just come grab it today. I was like, okay, cool. Cool.
I have one more Silver City Oktoberfest as well. So, got some choices for you.
We'll have to do a compare and contrast.
Deal. When you're about halfway with that one, we'll open it up.
Okay. All right, so let's dive right in. Toyota raises wages after huge UAW. That's just what they say? That's interesting.
Weird.
That is super weird. Wins.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there it is.
All right.
Oh, we need sound too. Sorry, Crystal. Sorry, we'll let you talk.
This we also wanted to update on, so we brought you that the UAW was able to reach tentative agreements with all of the big three at this point. Huge win for them. The members, of course, have to approve it, but some major gains that they were able to achieve in terms of wages. And it looks like the other non-union automakers are really taking notice, and they're very concerned about their own workforces potentially unionizing, and they realize they have to compete with these increased wages that...
Pause button. She has no idea what the fuck she's talking about. She just inserted and assumed that these people are worried about the UAW coming after their workers or them just unionizing itself. There is zero.
Right.
There is zero indication. And even if there is, she did not present that. She just presented this as a fact that Toyota is concerned that their employees are going to unionize. She has zero basis in fact to make this statement on her show.
Because if you're not a blockhead, you may ask, how do you know this?
Exactly.
What indication do you have that
to make this statement?
To lead you in this direction?
Yes.
There is none.
That was an affirmative statement of fact that she has nothing to back up.
No.
Just the trust in her.
I even have another article that's from that same auto blog, and again, they lean left. That's from Ground News. And they have an article that says the same thing, but it says Toyota raises pay across the board in response to historic UAW deals. But there's nothing to indicate that, like, they're afraid that their workers are going to unionize, or they're like, of course, there's no questioning it's in reaction to this.
100%.
Of course it is.
Because logic would dictate that if the major mover and shaker in the entire industry in the U.S., which is run by this single union, they control most of what happens because they're the workforce that powers the entire company, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't exist anymore. They're still there for reasons, right? If they're going to be in the middle of this strike, you wait to see what happens because that's going to set essentially the new market threshold.
Yes.
That would be like a common sense thing for anybody who can look at. Okay, so yeah, if I'm trying to think of another analogy. If there was another if we had a Bennett competitor somewhere in the county
that was unionized,
and they were unionized, and they went on strike, and they did all this stuff, and then all of a sudden every one of their employees got a $10 an hour increase in their wages or something like that. I guarantee you, after that was settled and done, we would all get a raise too.
Right.
Because it's competitive market practice. That's just how it goes in the marketplace.
And I suppose you could say that it's because Tim would be afraid that we're going to go to the union, but also he could just be waiting to see what the new fucking, like you said, the new meeting is. Like, this is what the market average is for this price. And so in the statement that the Toyota VP for Corporate Resources, Chris Reynolds, told Axios, "We value our employees and their contributions, and we show it by offering robust compensation packages that we continually review to ensure that we remain competitive with the automotive industry." Earlier reports note that production workers got a $295 pay increase, and skilled trade workers got a $370 bump, but a Toyota spokesperson declined to confirm those numbers. Toyota's factories aren't unionized, but the UAW president Sean Fain aims to change that. He repeatedly hinted at wanting to draw in non-union auto workers, saying earlier this year, non-union auto workers are not the enemy. They are our future union family. We're going to organize non-union auto workers everywhere. Together, we're going to stand up and take on corporate greed. But that's the same thing that's being delivered there. And I don't know anybody who works at Toyota, but I don't have, again, I didn't do any direct research to find out what are the fucking complaints about working at Toyota. But we have every reason to believe, just as Crystal does for this, that Toyota working there might be a good job.
Yeah.
People might actually enjoy working there, and they might not feel totally fucked by Toyota. They might have recognized what else is going on. And again,
can you do a Google search for me since I got this thing pulled up? Where is the Toyota plant in the United States? I think it's down south somewhere. Because I'd be interested. Because depending on what the rest of the makeup is down there with industry, like a lot of big places are, if the state has a ton of union jobs and massive factories and stuff like that, they might be the odd one out. And it would be interesting to know that kind of context. I didn't even think about that till just now. Because location does matter.
Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Europe, United Kingdom, North America. We have one in California, Kentucky, Missouri, Indiana, West Virginia, Alabama, Tijuana, Tennessee, Texas, Mississippi, Paseo El Grande, Alabama, North Carolina.
Everywhere down south.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
The one with the most amount of jobs is going to be
Kentucky.
The one in Cambridge and Woodstock, in Canada, actually. They have 9,700 jobs, and the biggest one in America is going to be in Kentucky, 7,800 jobs.
Okay. I think that's the one I'm probably
and
thinking
that's they assemble Camry, RAV4, Lexus ES, and production engines.
I wonder where my Tacoma's built.
Tijuana is where they do the Tacoma a lot, and then
I do love Mexico.
Paseo El Grande, and that's in Mexico as well. I think Tacoma might just be a Mexico product.
So it's a Mexican stormtrooper.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
just depends. Like Tundras are in Texas.
Nice.
But they do a lot of Tundras and like a lot of pieces for them in Mexico and stuff like that as well. I know that my Tundra is one made in America.
Nice. Okay, sorry. Got off topic there.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so it's looking like the biggest one is, like you said, in Kentucky. That's the one that has the most jobs. That's probably where most of this negotiating is going on, established in 86. So, yeah, we have as much reason to believe that working at Toyota is good as it is that they're afraid that their employees are going to unionize.
Yeah.
They could, like you said, be waiting to see what is going to happen with, and there's again,
with the market.
If there are, I'm not in the business of assuming that people are pieces of shit, right?
Okay.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? So I don't automatically assume that people who run the Toyota plant are pieces of shit,
Indeed.
right? I don't love corporations or corporate greed, so it's not going to take much to convince me that they are pieces of shit, but I'm not going to assume that automatically. So if they have a good manager of the plant and they obviously know what's going on, the employees also obviously know what's going on with the UAW. I also have reason to believe that they're having at least some staff meetings with at least upper management to tell them, hey, make sure your employees know we're not looking to fuck you. We do know what's going on. As soon as this is done, we're going to reevaluate everything and we'll see what's good.
Yeah.
Just happened. There's a tentative deal made and Toyota's like, hey, listen, we're fucking going to give everyone pay raises. This is what's happening now. This is where the market is now.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what's really funny, but when you think about it, who are the unionized auto manufacturers? American companies.
Yeah.
Japanese companies in particular, they do not operate the same way that American corporations do. There is a different level of concern with the human being on the back end in a Japanese company than there is in an American company. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but when I bought my Subaru, I got to know everybody at the Long Island Subaru dealer that I was at. One of the big things that they were everybody there was super fucking happy. I know they were just taking my money and all this stuff, but I wanted to get my car as quick as possible because my truck was dying, and I had to offload it and all this stuff. And so I got offered way more money than I should have for my truck trade-in. And the guy knew what the deal was, but he also wanted to know my backstory and what my deal was and all that. And he's like, I'm trying to hook you up, blah, blah, blah. And he gave me he doubled what I was supposed to get for a return. It's like, because at the end of the day, it's all pennies on the dollar for them. They don't really care. So I'm going to help you out. We're going to hook you up. But here's the problem, though. I know you need this thing as fast as possible, but we can't do it tomorrow because tomorrow's Sunday. And in Subaru, Sunday is family day. So nobody works at a Subaru dealership or any of the plants or anything. I'm like, that is That's unheard of in most manufacturing. They don't do that. That's not a thing that happens.
Yeah.
But I would assume it's because it's a Japanese company and they just run things differently. They actually care as much as a corporation can care about the people that make them money.
Right.
And I would assume that logic carries over to also Tacoma or fucking Toyota.
Because they're still, regardless of whether they're American plants, they're still owned and operated by a Japanese company.
Yes.
They still...
That's where all the decisions truly get made and then passed down throughout the rest of the corporation. Yes. Plus, I mean, come on. They all know a war's about to break out in the Middle East, and they're going to be selling tons of them Tacoma Tacticals over there. That's just what they do, dude. All them little fucking Toyota fucking trucks out there in the desert with the 50s on the back. Those are all Toyotas.
The resale value of a used Toyota is about to fucking skyrocket because there's going to be none in America.
Which means don't buy a used one. Try to get a new one because you're just going to be paying more.
Buy a new one, beat it to shit, and then sell it for twice what you bought it for.
Yes. I like this logic.
They're gonna like them.
Any more? Continue.
Yeah, let's go.
Big three workers were able to achieve. So put this up on the screen from Toyota. They are saying that this is a report. It hasn't been totally confirmed yet.
Again,
but this
from
is
More
from
Perfect Union.
Yes. She said it's from Toyota, but it's not. It's from a More Perfect Union, which means this is a union official account.
Notes. Toyota is saying that they are immediately raising the wages of their non-union factory workers. This, of course, comes on the heels of those agreements. And what a sort of leaked memo indicated is that they're raising their top pay to $32 per hour. This would not be a surprise, not only because their workers, I'm sure, are following like, oh, the person who does my exact same job, this is what they're getting? Why am I so dramatically underpaid? So Toyota's feeling that pressure.
Okay. It's been 10 minutes. Dude. It's been 10 minutes. The pay isn't actually different yet. There are tentative deals.
Indeed. And on top of that, she's created a straw man. Yes. Stepped into the mind of this straw man and is making arguments based out of the straw man's logic that is actually just her own, that she's assuming these people think because she's never actually worked a real job before in her life again, and she's just a newsman. She's just a news lady who sits there and talks about shit. She has no concept of what these people are actually thinking. She's not down there doing ground reporting. They're not taking all their subscriber revenue that they're making and sending a reporter down and interviewing people at Toyota shop to get a real feel of what's actually going on in the heads of these employees and whether or not they actually like their job. She's painted them all now. Every Toyota worker that is in a non-unionized plant, she's paid them all to have the same opinion that, like, well, these people are getting paid way more than me for doing the exact same job. You have no basis to say that.
Obviously,
you're fucking lying to everybody. You're lying to your entire audience right now.
With zero evidence.
Yeah, with a tweet from a fucking union shop.
It's purely conjecture and then a leaked memo from Toyota saying that they're raising their pay. That's all that it says. There's nothing in there that says...
reaction to the market, most likely.
There's nothing in there that says, because we're afraid that our workers will unionize or because we're afraid they're going to leave to another auto worker. Because, again, it's not like the other auto workers are fucking, spilling out jobs.
No.
Like, they don't have open arms for whatever thousands of other employees want to leave Toyota and go to work for one of these other plants. Like, it doesn't work that way.
No.
The union doesn't hire people. They represent people who work in these plants. The union does hire people who work for the union, but they don't hire auto workers, is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
They're
you still
unionized
go work
auto
for
workers.
GM or Ford or whatever.
Yes, they send you to work there. You're just a member of the union.
Yes.
So
again,
what are you saying to me?
She's lying to you.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing. She's lying to you so that it makes the unions look good, the unionized, or just the union look good, and any other corporation that isn't unionized look bad because they're evil corporate greed pieces of shit.
When really what this says to me is that you don't have to be in a union to have a good job.
That's what it sounds like.
You just have to hang out.
Just hang out, dude.
Hang out for long enough.
Yeah. If all of a sudden the economy changes and the market dictates that you make more money, then you just make more money.
Right. Because again, that first story, the Autoblog one, was from this week, and then this one from Toyota is like the next day. Like this one is from November 1st for Toyota. So okay, it's been 3 days. It's been 3 days,
and this isn't even final yet.
No, they're tentative deals. So
and she's already making the leap to say that because the union, the leaders, the negotiators, whoever the fuck is involved in these contract disputes, came up with a tentative deal, she's assuming that every single member is going to be like, yeah, this is it. We're here for it. We're going to vote this thing in.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Probably, I would assume. It sounds like a pretty good deal. Making some more money over, what was it, 4 years essentially total?
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 years. That's not bad. It's not bad. 25% increase. Let's
Something
go.
like that, yeah.
So carry on with your lies, Crystal.
Sure. They don't want to have to, they don't want to face a union drive. So they're trying to short circuit that. Tesla actually had already, you pointed out, given raises. In the context of these negotiations going on. So, this is something we've talked about with the labor movement.
Easy to assume this is in anticipation of whatever there's going to be a raise in the market average. That is going to happen. What it's going to be, we don't fucking know. Tesla, Elon Musk don't want no fucking unions anywhere involved in any of his factories, right? Of course, if he sees something,
because he wants control of his company.
Yes, and he has enough money and move around ability to maneuver liquidity that he can just throw a number out there. He doesn't have to wait to see what the new market meeting is going to be. He can anticipate that himself and just move it there.
Raise.
Let's just fucking give him raises and we'll just cut it off now. Won't even have the discussion about whatever, right?
And you know what's funny is that these non-union shops are all going to get raises probably before the UAW guys do.
Almost because it's going to happen immediately. So no voting involved. It just happens. People just give you more money.
The boss man says, you know what? We're giving everybody raises at whatever percentage for the next blah, 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 blah.
Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Movement is, yes, obviously it directly benefits workers who are in a union, but it can really have ripple effects across the economy and across industries as well. Additional context on this, put this up on the screen from the UAW. They're making some real noises here, Sagar, basically about a potential general strike in 2028. They say, we invite unions around the country to align your contract expirations with our own so that together we can begin to flex our collective muscles. They go on to say, if we're going to truly take on the billionaire class and rebuild the economy so it starts to work for the benefit of the many and not the few, then it's important we not only strike, but that we strike together.
Pay, apparently.
When we return to the bargaining table in 2028, it won't be just with the big three, but with the big five or big six. So real warning shot there to all of the non-union automakers out there. That would.
So this is really funny, right? She is assuming that everybody else at this point with these other manufacturers are all going to join excuse me, with essentially the UAW in some capacity so that they can all enter into the same exact contract negotiations at the same exact time. And then there is there might be multiple unions at that point. The picture she's painting is that if everybody gets unionized and we all line up our contracts with this 2028 period, when our UAW contract expires next, we can shut down the entire industry, creating a single monopoly of unionized labor force to control the entire fucking auto industry throughout most of the globe. Because you're talking all the major manufacturers, other than like BMW, like the German companies, right? But we're talking some of the biggest Japanese ones. I'm assuming Honda's probably going to be in there somewhere.
Probably.
Or Hyundai, the Korean company. I don't know what their status is, but what are we talking with the big six? Stellantis. That's got like GM and Chrysler and Jeep and a bunch of them, right?
Ones, yeah.
And then you got Ford and GM.
Yep.
So those are the big three here. And then, so then Toyota. Let's think. Jeep's kind of fucking me because I feel like I don't forget who makes Jeep. I think Chrysler does.
Yeah, because up on the hill, it's like Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. All of those are in one dealership. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got Toyota, you got Honda, and then probably Hyundai. Mm-hmm. That seems like the big six right there. If there was going to be some, and you're assuming that they're all just going to get unionized, and then join on the same page as you guys that have just been causing problems for the entire industry, and then you're just going to become a single monopoly now and control the entire market.
Right.
That seems like something that is probably not great for the consumer at the end game, but
because it also does not account for the fact, one of the concerns that we raised the last time we talked about the UAW is that while you are on strike, you're not receiving pay. And part of what the arguments for the union is we're going to give you money during this time, but they don't, and they can't compensate your entire pay. So you are taking a loss at that point. And this particular time, I do believe that whatever they lost in that time is being paid back to them in this in this agreement that they had. But you have to hope that happens in the agreement. If they're not going to pay for those backed wages, then this is a hit that you have to take. And if you're talking about an increase in numbers, potentially doubling the amount of people that are in your union, there's less money to go around. There's more people there. That's less money that you're going to take in when you have to strike, when you don't have a choice but to strike, because that's what the union is doing.
That's right. If you like your job and you like working, and you don't have a choice. Your union says you can't. And you have to take a pay cut because the union said so. There's just where
the people at Toyota who may behave their jobs, maybe they don't, maybe they're fine with it, right? There's going to be varying degrees of whatever.
Exactly.
Maybe the general idea is that it's okay. Working at Toyota is okay. You know, it's fine. It's not the best job around, but it could be a lot worse, right?
Indications seem to be that.
Yes.
And this is why it's so irresponsible to make these judgment calls about people that you're not even talking to.
And if you're an employee there, you see the market shifting, you don't have to stop working to see those benefits. You can continue to make money in that time and continue to work for your company, continue to have a good relationship, because regardless of what anybody says, the way the unions conduct themselves is going to rub the leadership of the production plants the wrong way.
100%.
They're not happy about this. They don't love this, right?
So would you like a generalized revolt of your entire company?
You're also causing a shitty relationship between the leadership and the workers there. You're actively adding to that. Even if you're not causing it, you're actively adding to that. Which to them, to the unions, is good, because that bolsters them. That just means more union reps are going to be in. There's going to be more discussions we're involved in, more things that we can do because we have helped fuck this relationship. Toyota, maybe you can fucking still like your boss, still fucking get along with him. And then in 2 months, he's just like, hey, you saw all the shit going on. Everyone's getting a raise now. So thank you for chilling. Everything is cool. Like, that seems to me like a better place to be than this fucking rigmarole of dog shit that you had to deal with to get the same raises that the fucking Toyota workers got.
I mean, the minute
I'd rather go work at Toyota.
100,000%. I have more control over my own life. I greatly enjoy that, right?
And probably taking home more money because you're not paying fucking union dues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that extra, maybe they make an extra like $3 or $4 an hour more than you, but that's going back to the unions. But that's fine. I don't know the actual numbers, so I don't want to necessarily assume that. But I know some of it is.
Dues. Yeah, but you're not paying union dues.
Yes.
And I know that if the more money you're making every year, the more that stacks up, whatever that percentage is, you know? 1% is 1%, but if the bigger the number is, the bigger that 1% is.
Right.
So that's still less money that you're taking home.
That's right. 1% of 100,000 is way more than 1% of 10,000.
We all know how quickly Social Security, income tax, all those things pile up on your pay stub. That individually they're not that much, but when you have 7 things that are all 4%, you know,
including the newest one.
Yes, that's a pretty decent chunk that's being taken out of your fucking money every week.
Yeah, which is, I think we're up to about 20% now in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Between state, federal, all the other things. It's about 20%. The fucking state's just stealing from you.
We have this dog shit tax for like
the long-term care.
Yeah, if you don't pay for long-term care insurance, you get taxed on every time you get paid. That goes into, it's the same idea as Social Security. Yeah, it just goes into a general fund that you can pull from if you need long-term care when you're older and you haven't gotten insurance. So me, at 28, if I don't have long-term health care insurance, I get taxed I get penalized every week because on my pay.
Long-term care, this thing they called long-term care.
Yeah.
That's for like nursing homes and
assisted
living type stuff.
In-home care.
Yeah, stuff like that for when you're elderly and your family's abandoned you because we don't have multi-generational households anymore. And so bing, bang, boom, you're just there to die by yourself and you can't afford it because you're already on a fixed income, which is getting taken away from you every day because the government continues to inflate your dollar every fucking day. So now we have to pay for that, which is just another fucking Ponzi scheme that the government has created. They love creating Ponzi schemes.
And I'm not yet 30. I am not yet 30, and I am paying for long-term health insurance.
And I have a feeling that by the time we hit, say, 70, it's probably not going to be around anymore.
Probably
Let's
not.
be realistic.
Yeah, no, that's for the people who are retiring next year.
Yes.
And they can take advantage of that.
Exactly. Which is,
would include Tesla. And apparently there's already some stuff,
Tesla.
Union stuff
That's
going on
ones.
at Tesla. Put this up on the screen. Bloomberg reporting Monday, and this is written up in this publication, The Street, that Tesla's 20,000 worker plant in...
And then reposted by The Street, apparently. Or how did she say that? Let's go back just a second, because she... She said it, and it just sounded weird.
There's some stuff, union stuff going on at Tesla. Put this up on the screen. Bloomberg reporting Monday, and this is written up in this publication, The Street, that Tesla's 20,000 worker plant in Fremont, California is currently playing host to a UAW organizing committee. The group, according to a source, is talking to Tesla workers about the value of collective bargaining and is reportedly committed to funding any such campaign. UAW did not respond to the Street's request for comment. This effort to actively expand the UAW's membership in a threat to Elon Musk and Tesla is very noteworthy.
Okay, and again, this is all very perceived language. Like the way she's talking about it is it's a threat because the UAW said they're going to go and try and pay for a campaign. Okay, so if Tesla workers are not receptive to the campaign, how big of a threat is this really?
Well, then it just turns...
It's not. It's a waste of money that you have expended in California, right?
Yeah. Or something happens that happened with like the Amazon plant in Staten Island, right? Anybody that's for a union gets backed, they get dollars, they get promotion, they get spread out there, they get popularized artificially from the outside by a third party to essentially drive out anybody that's not interested in being in the fucking union. And the next thing you know, they've taken control of that shop. I don't like the concept of an outside union coming into my business to talk to my employees about how I'm a piece of shit, I'm taking advantage of them, and life would be so much better if we all unionized together and you joined us, and then we can put up the divide between the workers and the bosses, and then bing bang boom, and then everybody's got a bad relationship now. There's tension always. You got to be careful about how you talk to your managers, because if they're part of the boss's class, you're part of the oppressed workers class.
Right.
I don't like any of this fucking Marxist language from an outside organization. It's not even a real fucking company, I might add, just a union, comes into another pre-existing company that's been working fine so far. I haven't heard any massive protests about outside of Toyota or Tesla. I've heard some rumblings within Tesla about people not making much money.
It also makes shit in California. That's kind of what you get.
Exactly. And also, it's a very different industry. You're making EVs. There's less people involved, a lot of automation, a lot of high skill labor requirements, and very little low skill requirements.
Yeah.
It's a very different system. But these people are going to try to get their fucking foot in the door and make a toxic environment there to get everybody convinced that unionization is the right thing. I don't like that at all. That seems like a state entity, even though they're not, coming in to like just fuck up with the private market. I don't like that at all. I get very uncomfortable when I hear about like unions making their way into fucking Starbucks and into Amazon and all the shit, where I'm sure there are problems that need to be solved or looked at, but like I don't like this outside union coming in to like try to, hey man, like your life kind of sucks a little bit, right?
There is an interesting state element to it, to the point that Joe Biden is a good example, right? If you have a president that is overtly pro-union, that is just going to be supportive of what the unions are doing, and there are other companies that have a semi-hostile relationship with that administration, there's going to be kind of a green light on your end to go towards those companies, because you know that the administration is not going to step in to intervene, even if whatever, right? They're not going to intervene. They're not going to fuck with you at all if you're expanding to companies that they don't like.
And whatever you do, don't look at the administration track record with the railroad industry unions, because
don't worry about that.
Didn't do so well.
Don't worry about that.
Don't talk about their actual relationship with unions.
Yes.
He says he likes unions, so we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
So that is very interesting.
There's just so many. I remember when I watched this class, there were so many things I was like, I can't stand this woman.
Earlier in October, Fain referred to workers at Tesla and other non-union automakers, including Toyota and Honda, as, quote, the UAW members of the future.
Fuck you.
So pretty extraordinary how quickly things appear to be moving here after the major wins that they were able to achieve. And I think the fact that Fain did it in such...
How quickly things are moving. They're spending money in different state. That doesn't... What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What else is happening? These are assumptions that you're making, that you're using to frame this story in.
Yep.
You don't have evidence for this.
And because you're such a partisan actor, anything the union does, you side with, and you'll find any justification to make sure that like this is the moral and correct thing to do because these are your people. This is where you side. I don't like any of this. It all makes me. It feels very, very gross to me, man. Like she likes to bitch about corporate greed all the time, right? What is this? This is the same thing. It's just your team. This is the only reason you approve it because it's your team doing it. You're still creating a bigger monopoly outside of any particular one of these corporations. This one monopoly rules 3 major corporations because whatever the union says goes, or we don't work and you go out of business.
And she acknowledges either in this segment or a different segment the issues the UAW has had with leadership in the past. So this is only beneficial right now. If you have another shitty ass leader that comes into point, you have someone.
He's a new president.
Yes, you have somebody.
Sean Fain is brand new to this.
You have a piece of dog shit who's running a monopoly over an entire industry. This is not a good thing. You're now controlling how all of those employees are going to get fucked, not just some of them.
Yes.
This is not a good thing.
No, dude, shouldn't be doing this. Shouldn't be doing that.
Because
Donovan.
lest we not forget, right? The UAW is not a new thing. They've been around for quite some time. Yes. I don't know, obviously, exactly their date of conception, their year of conception, but
conception happens at birth.
They've been around for quite some time. So again, lest we not forget that when the union workers got fucked in 2010. That was during the negotiations with their union president.
Yep.
This very thing can happen again in 2028 if Sean Fain is not the president again, right?
Or if he starts to get a little extra something and he becomes corrupt.
If he's corrupt again, who knows what's going to happen between now and then? The way that Me Too's happen, blah, 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 blah. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying if something could happens where Sean Fain is not the president in 2028 when these new union negotiations happen and they've expanded like Crystal's talking about, not only could the union workers get fucked, we could get fucked as a society, as a country, if that's how things are being controlled on that basis, on that level.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like a real smart idea in the grand scheme.
There are inherent problems there that can be defeated by right leadership, just like the fucking country, right? There are inherent problems there that can be corrected through the right measures.
Oh, yes.
If those measures are not carried out, you're in fucking big trouble. You're in serious danger.
And with the jobs and livelihoods and just overall lives of tens of thousands of people in your hands. And because, let's put it plainly. I mean, a big union is essentially just a giant political party that only deals with one particular issue, and that's that industry. That's it. But, I mean, they have democratic elections, so on and so forth. They have leadership panels and committees and contract groups and all this stuff. This isn't
political
just
involvement.
Exactly. And most of them don't work for these companies anymore. They work for the union to run the union. This is just a separate political corporation that you work for, essentially, while being temporarily working for a company. And so whatever they say, whatever kind of corruption that comes with that, because a giant, massive organization like this that deals with millions and millions of dollars, you're going to deal with corruption. That's just the nature of large human organizations. Done. You're going to deal with it in some capacity. You better hope that it's a small issue whenever that does arise next time, because then everybody gets fucked and you have very little recourse. You think if you're going to be a hostile member or if you're going to be a union member who has a hostile relationship with whatever corporation you're working for, you think that if you decide to leave the union and try to go scab work at that same company, they'll be really interested in you?
Right.
Probably fucking not. You've already shown yourself as a partisan actor who's going to side with the union. What's going to say you're not going to be the next guy that's going to do another union drive? No. This just doesn't seem like a real good idea to me. And to plan on trying to expand that to the rest of the entire industry, it just seems like a bad idea,
It could have a lot of potentially negative implications.
Yeah, for sure. Whereas if you just stuck with your more individual-based decisions and you have your own choices and you can have your own negotiations and whatnot, you just are in so much more control.
Or even unionized in the places that demand it. You know, there are going to be some companies that are shitty, and those are going to require. It's going to be one of the methods to deal with it is unionization.
Yes.
Right. Those are times in which this is very appropriate. An intentional expansion to try and dominate a market because you think is what's best. That's not the right. That's impressing your own ideas and ideology on other people who are trying to make money and exist.
Exactly.
That's not right.
Doesn't seem good.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem good to me.
such a public fashion is also really noteworthy and was very intentional, because previous UAW leadership was, by the way, extraordinarily corrupt.
Here it is.
Totally in bed with, they were skimming. I mean, it was a mess, and they elected this new leadership in Sean Fain, and they had also conducted a lot of the negotiations like behind the scenes in secret, not drawing a lot of attention to it. And they were taking major concessions in terms of the deals that they were striking. So
you're just going to assume this is not going to happen ever again.
All things that could happen.
Because Sean Fain he is pure as the driven snow. It's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. We elected Joe Biden. Everything's going to work out.
Like, what if he just dies? Yeah. That's a thing that happens also. Accidents happen at the beginning of car. Like, shit happens. What
Brother
if he
has
just
a heart attack,
dies? Like
in a car accident, like you said.
Right. It could be that he even still has all the support, but he can't run. If he just can't be the president anymore, what the fuck then?
It's okay. It's okay, Sean Fain. All we need is your corporeal form. Stay alive, Sean Fain.
That's all we need.
So this is a dramatic shift in the way things have been going previously.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting on the Toyota piece. They say that the increase of $2.94 to the maximum of $34 $34.80 per hour for the production workers, and a $3.70 raise to $43 per hour for skilled trades employees. I mean, that.
Okay, just for reference here, I owned and operated a civil engineering and survey company. I didn't make those wages.
Right.
These are usually, like, I was filling a job that should have been done by a guy that went to a 4-year engineering school. But I was doing that, and I was not making $43 an hour.
And skilled trades, there's like welders and stuff like that. That's mostly going to be
probably welders. It's probably a lot of tech stuff too, because everything's so automated.
Yeah.
And so there's probably like some robotic stuff.
And
yeah, for sure. Like electrical engineers, software engineers,
that makes
stuff
sense.
like that for sure. But that's, again, I didn't even make that money when I was owning and operating my own company like that.
Right.
And I wasn't like a low man on the totem pole over there.
And that's good. That's good money.
That's good fucking money, dude.
Yeah.
If you're working 40 hours a week plus overtime on that, what's time and a half on $43 an hour?
I mean, it's going to be
a lot.
$61.50.
Thank you. I'm not doing podcast math. I'm smarter than that.
$61.50.
That's a pretty significant raise, up to $43 per
close.
hour. And it does show you also where labor pressure comes from. It makes sense too, because think about the overall environment for minimum wage workers. I mean, prior to the pandemic, people were getting away with 11 and 12. Then as we have a labor shortage and we have more labor activism all throughout 2021 and 2022, we're at almost a minimum floor at this point for a lot of major brands, between 15 to 20 bucks an hour. I'm even seeing that, in terms of the pressure on the consumers and consumer prices.
Right. So pause for a second. What he's talking about, right, in these $15 and $20 things, this is what we just talked about. This is a raising in what the market median is, right? We talked about this when we're talking about all of the other, not even union industries, but the fucking fast food industry, all these regular entry-level jobs that are paying what he's talking about, of that being the new baseline. That's because as a society, refusal to work those jobs raised the median pay for those jobs.
Market forces at work.
That's capitalism,
yes.
Right? There are communistic aspects of that, and I'm not being like, I'm not degrading the union, but when we're talking about the different base aspects of it, there's the capitalistic aspect of this market value that went up. There were communist aspects that affected that with these union pushes and things like that also inflated this.
Yes.
But to act as though it is only the union, quote unquote, big labor pushes that did this, that's nonsensical. That's nonsense.
100%.
When a very easy thing to point to is during the pandemic, when people who were called like frontline workers, right? Not just the
essential workers,
the people who worked like in grocery stores and were on, in pretend they were receiving hazard pay. That raised the baseline. Whatever you want to call that, whatever justification you gave it, that raises the baseline. That's what that job is worth now.
Yep.
That was through a tertiary governmental process that raised that. That's what the new market median is.
Yes.
When that happened in certain industries, it raised the market median in other entry-level industries. That's how fucking capitalism works.
Yes.
That's how it goes.
This is called free market forces working. I mean, because
originally influenced by government, but capitalism followed through very quickly afterwards. They had no choice.
Yes. Otherwise, industry everywhere disappears.
Yes.
It has to do that.
We talked about all the fucking Burger Kings that closed early and shit because they couldn't find workers at $12 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
They had no choice but to pay more.
Yep.
That's capitalism.
That's right. To this day, if I'm going to work super early, I can't get my Mick and D's coffee in the morning because the little sign on there, due to fucking labor shortages, we are having, what was it? It's like we have alternate hours or something like that. And sorry for the inconvenience. Move along, sir. Go get fucked on your coffee.
So they're advocating for communistic ventures while touting the exploits of capitalistic ventures.
Yes. Even communism make capitalism look better.
Isn't that interesting?
That's hilarious. But it's a good point he brings up, too, because he is relating it now to outside industries. I wish Sagar would have spoken up more than 4 minutes into this clip, but that's fine. Crystal talks a lot. It's hard to break into that situation, and this is kind of her thing anyway.
She talks over him anyway if he tries to.
Exactly. Also, shout out to the nice tie today, man. I know the comments don't like it when we talk about their superficial aspects, but I'm a big fan of his tie, and his glasses game is on point, man. He's always got fashionable specs on.
I like the dark suit with the light tie. I think that's a good look.
Very much so.
Where people are expecting a down quarter
and he's pretty
for the
adventurous
fourth
with
quarter.
his ties. Like he's willing to wear a pink tie or peach tie. I don't know what color that is exactly. I'm
gonna go with peach with like whatever that,
like sailboats or something.
Yeah, something on there. But those are definitely a nice like solid deep pink.
Yeah,
maybe a magenta. Is that's like a deep pink?
Colorblind. Right? I don't know what color that is. I'm not the guy to ask.
That's right. Oh,
it's got red in it. Not the guy to ask.
I got a friend of mine who also has it's an interesting color blindness issue. She's got a hard time with yellows, and so depending on the shade, we fuck with her all the time.
It's more greens then.
Exactly, and so it's some things like looking at your two vapes there. One is like a nice neon green, the other kind of like a faded yellow. I guarantee you, if she was looking at those, she'd go, "Yeah, they're green."
She's greens, lady.
Yeah, but some yellows come in real strong, and she fucking. So good. She's a horse friend of my mom's that works at the brewery, and I'll come in every now and again. Jessica, what color is this? She goes, "Fuck you, Colin. It's yellow." And damn it, you got me this one.
Jordan hits me with that stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I know that it's not brown, or else you wouldn't be fucking asking me
exactly.
about it. So
You're
it's got to be
right now.
fucking red. Like I don't know, but I know it's not. I thought it was brown, but it's obviously not because you just fucking asked me about it. I've started to run into that with Dax. That I'll ask him or trying to get him to look at something, I'm like, it's like this fucking red thing over there, and he's like, that's not red. And I'm like, okay, fuck off. This is the thing. Like I don't know what color it is. I can't tell you what color it is. This is the thing. Yeah,
because he's too young.
He has no idea.
He has no idea yet how to handle
this. He's not being a dick. He's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, this is obviously not the color that I think it is.
Like, let's start to go with shapes here. We won't do colors. We'll do shapes.
All right, I need to how am I gonna? Yeah.
Okay, sorry for that diversion. Let's go back.
And yet Walmart and others are still paying some $20-something per hour, even seasonal holiday wages. So the wages are higher, honestly, in some cases they've ever been before. Now, to be clear, it has not kept up with inflation, and I think that's really bad. But this does show you where the pressure comes from and how it will all look like. It also, people were like,
shows you where some of the pressure comes from.
Exactly. Like I don't agree. Some of the pressure, yes, and in that particular industry, in the automotive industry, yeah.
Yes.
If they're the driving force at this point, yes. But that's not the case for everything.
No.
Now, GM cars and all that are going to be too expensive. We'll see. Actually, I still want to know. But it does show you, too, like with the pressure that we'll be lifting, it's not like it's going to be restricted just to the American auto workers or auto companies. It's going to be all of the auto sector because they're, at the end of the day, pulling from the same labor pool. So it's an overall positive development.
Yeah, absolutely. And, very interesting to me the way that Sean Fain is calling for other unions to align their contracts with theirs.
If you work in the auto industry, this is an overall positive because no matter what happens, you're going to make more money. If you're unionized or not, you're going to make more money because your company has no choice but to respond what the new market average is.
Exactly, because we want employees and we have to compete in the market. So we compete in the market.
And if you're not in the union, it's even better because you have to keep fucking working the whole time. You didn't lose any money, and now you make more money.
Yep. And
other people fucking around being cold outside and all bullshit in fucking Detroit in the middle of November. Fuck off with all that. I'm chilling in the plant. I'm warm. I'm in a fucking tank top out here. I'm good.
Rocking the tank top at the factory.
Hot as shit inside Toyota factory.
That they can have an even larger you know, just not just in the auto industry, but much larger impact on the economy. So something to watch there. He's the one that I wish would run for president.
Yeah, he probably would win.
He would do quite well.
He would do well.
All right, guys, very excited to have James Zobby here. You know, very interesting to me the way that Sean Fain is calling for other unions to align their contracts with theirs so that they can have an even larger, you know, just not just in the auto industry, but much larger impact on the economy. So something to watch there. He's the one that I wish would run for president.
Yeah,
he probably would win.
He would do quite well.
He would do well.
All right, guys, very excited.
What the fuck are you talking about,
dude?
Based on what? Your ability to manipulate a market?
Yes.
That's why you're so good. That's why you should be president. Is because you could fuck with the auto market.
Yeah. Well, she's a nationalize it, bro. She's a nationalize it, bro. That's what she's all about. She wishes there was no such thing as a right to work state.
My God.
She wishes that didn't exist because all corporations are evil, greedy industries that are just filled with two classes of people that are just there's a subjugated, oppressed class of the workers, and then there's the bosses class and the executives.
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
That's the way she views the world.
Jesus Christ.
So Sean Fain for president. Let's go. Get Biden out of there.
God.
Well, that was a very, very, very healthy. It's a nice return to the breaking down breaking points. I feel like it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Welcome to the south of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought.